الحجاب فريضة من ربنا المنان يا أختنا بالله لا يغويك ذا الشيطان.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear viewer. On today's episode of Sister to Sister, we'll talk about Ramadan, which is around the corner. Inshallah, Allah keeps us well. Inshallah, we get to reach the holy month healthy and well, inshallah. On today's episode, I have two lovely guests with me today. I'd let them introduce themselves first. So the lady to my right, kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Sabria Omar. I'm a student at KCA University. Yeah.
And you?
My name is Leila Ali. I'm a student at the Technical University of Kenya.
MashaAllah. On today's episode, I've already told you that we'll talk about Ramadan, but most importantly, we'd like to discuss about how Ramadan and Muslim students in universities, correlate, and how girls in university try and prepare themselves for Ramadan. And that's why we have two university students with us, Miss Sabria and Miss Leila. So I'd like to start with Sabria. How was your first Ramadan?
Okay, being in university, actually I was a day scholar. My Ramadan was good. I didn't have any challenges. But according to the research that I've done, to those people who live in the hostel, they had a number of conflicting concerns. Yeah, first of all, they didn't have time to do the ibadah because the time for the class and the time to do the ibadah were coinciding.
Yeah. Before we get into, that is actually the first challenge that we've had so far. Before we get into that, I'd like you to tell us about your transition from high school to university and how different do you think Ramadan became while in university?
I find it easy because while we were in high school, it was kind of difficult because they were not preparing a good meal for us. Yeah, it was so difficult. So in university, I feel it being kind of good because I normally have a full-time class. So like after 4, I'm at home. Yeah.
With high school and university, in high school you don't have much of a choice. You're given whatever you're given is what you accept.
Yeah.
While in university, it's up to you to give yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think in university you made your Ramadan easier?
Yeah, actually.
Do you think you did everything you could possibly to ease in your Ramadan?
Yeah.
Okay. Leila, could you tell us about your experience as well?
Okay, my Ramadan compared to how it was in high school, like in university, it was a bit better. But the problem was like when you're in Ramadan, you're fasting, then you have to do your prayers. And actually some institution doesn't offer like the prayer room or something. So you have a class and you have to pray at the same time. It was a bit difficult. So like you just have to either wait, maybe you have a class at 12 to 2 and we have a Dhuhr prayer that is around 1:30. You have to wait till 4 or 5 so that you pray. So it was a challenge.
Sabria mentioned a challenge, and you've also come now and mentioned a challenge, which I'd like to say is managing your time well while in university during Ramadan. And Ramadan is about ibadah, Ramadan is about dhikr, Ramadan is about salah and Quran, and you were talking about how hard it was finding a place to pray. So before you had like a room and all that, where would you go pray? Let's say your dhuhr salah or your asr salah while in school, if you didn't have evening classes.
Okay, our school is located in town, CBD. So you'll just have to walk till Jamia Mosque to do your prayers there. Then you come back. So it too hard.
It was too hard.
Yeah.
Sabria, I'd like to come back on your point. You mentioned about girls who are in hostels. Have you come across any girl who has given you her story and how many challenges she's gone through while, you know, doing Ramadan and being away from home?
Yeah, actually, from my sister. She was in a university where she used to live in the hostels. So it was so difficult for her because the cafeteria in the school, they were not preparing a good meal for them. And sometimes, like, you go to the cafeteria, you don't get food, so it was so difficult for them. And also they also had this problem about they didn't have the masjid in their hostels, a prayer room, and the environment was not conducive because they had a lot of Christians living in them.
On another point that I'd like to bring up, and you've both talked about different challenges, but one that goes across for both of you is the place for salah and finding a place where you can pray. Some universities are not fully Islamic universities, right? And you might not have, let's say, a room where you can pray. So what do you think, like do you think people should carry their own prayer mats, or, you know, find a place where they can pray? Let's say, you know, some people pray, you know, in the fields, in the ground, and in Islam, as long as it's a clean area, you can pray. Right? So you said about your school, alhamdulillah, was around town, so I'm thinking you found somewhere to pray.
Yeah, after a while, the institution had to give us like a room for prayers. And yeah, alhamdulillah, it actually happened. We had a room for doing our prayers and everything. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So the second point, like, I'd like you guys to discuss is, with university, you're mixed. Not just mixed in the terms of you're with female students and you're with male students. We've also touched on different religions. You're basically mixed, right? What kind of friends, or do you, like, if you have different friends, if you have male friends, is Ramadan any different with the people who you surround yourself with?
Yeah, because actually you have to choose your friends wisely, because many people in the university are peer pressured. And during Ramadan, there's something that you're supposed to refrain from. Like, even Islamically, you're not allowed to shake hands with boys, with anyone except your mahrams, So, basically, during Ramadan, I find it difficult, actually, in the university, when I started university, because you'll just find a man coming there, "Oh, Sabria, how are you? What? So, like, you had to tell them, no, according to my religion, I'm not supposed to greet anyone with shaking hands.
Yeah, but with the kind of society we live in, I'm just going to say that is very seldom. It doesn't happen. You can't find a Muslim girl being approached and they're like, "Oh, stop," you know. Like, that doesn't happen, let's be very honest.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to put out is, you know how Ramadan people say, "Oh, I'll be a better person during Ramadan." These are things that you shouldn't wait for Ramadan to tell somebody, "Oh, distance yourself," you know. These are things that as a Muslim girl in university, these are things that you should think about even before Ramadan. Don't wait for Ramadan to come so you can, you know, start setting boundaries. And the way you've said, Sabria, about choosing your friends wisely and peer pressure, you might find your friends, maybe they're even Muslims, you know, Allahu Ya'lam, and you might find some of your Muslim friends aren't very, you know, these days, subhanAllah, with the world and everything changing, maybe even the Muslim friend is the one who's making you go astray.
True.
So just because your friend is Muslim, don't say because they're Muslim, I'm going to be so-and-so's friend. Like, look at the character of somebody. The character of somebody is very important, right? Leila, so you tell me about your experience with your classmates, especially.
Okay, my experience with my classmates, it was so awkward because, you know, in a classroom, you have to share. Like, maybe you'll find a boy sitting here, the next one is up, and you don't have to choose anywhere that I'll be sitting here. I don't want any boy to sit next to me or any girl to sit next to me. No, you'll just have to sit. The place you find is open. So it was very hard, and you just can't come like take a chair and go sit in another place where you have to follow the instruction, like being told don't sit here, you sit here, you sit here, like that. So it was very hard. You just have to go with how it is.
You just have to go with how it is. One other thing that I'd like to ask both of you, have you guys ever had evening classes while in university, or were your classes just during the day?
Just during the day.
Did you have any Muslim friends who had evening classes? And if so, like, did they ever tell you how they went about with their evening classes? Evening classes may start at 5 p.m. and go till 8, right? So that means, like, by the time Maghrib comes, you're not home, you're in class. Your lesson is still going on. So did you have any classmates who told you about it?
Yeah. Okay, usually there's this friend who used to have an evening class. So what he used to do during Ramadan, he used to carry water and dates. Yeah.
So these are different challenges that we'll come back to you, Leila. These are different challenges that we've already talked about, and they're not one and the same. Other than one being, both of you have had the same experience, which is the one for finding a place to pray. When we come back, we'd like to expound more on these challenges, and we'd like you guys to offer any kind of solutions to these problems. They might not have been what you had gone through, but what do you think? What solutions do you have in mind? So we'll come back to that after the break. Dear viewer, do not go anywhere. We'll be back, inshallah, and we'll talk about these challenges more and explain. Ma'assalam. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Before we had gone on a break, we were talking about the challenges that Muslim girls in university go through, especially during Ramadan. We were on Leila. She was about to tell us about evening classes on her end, if she had ever gone through evening classes, because evening classes, most universities have those classes start at 5 and end maybe around 8 or 9. And Maghrib is when you break your fast. So Leila, could you tell us about your experience on evening classes? Did you ever have any evening classes, or did you ever attend one?
I've never have an evening class, but I actually knew someone who had an evening class, who attended a class. But mostly she used to miss the classes because it was very hard.
Wait. So she used to skive, what people would say skive classes, because she felt like Ramadan, she couldn't attend these classes. And I'm so sure this is with a lot of girls a lot of girls would, not attend those classes because they probably think oh, that's too late, plus you get home very late and you're hungry the whole day. And I don't think it's very advisable to not attend your classes. I don't think that's even right. Let's just begin with that. You have to attend all your classes, and there are ways that you can make this easier for you. So now, with all the challenges that we've talked about, we'd like to, what solutions do you think, if maybe it's not something that you've gone through, what are the solutions you think that people should do to make their Ramadan easier?
Okay, I think they should form this Muslim association, an organization where they can hire a chef or a cook to help them prepare their iftar. And
on that point, I don't think it's practical to have a chef in come to your university and cook for you, and you have a class that you're supposed to be running, utamngojea pike and then go to class. It's not practical, knowing very well. You have to differentiate this. There are students who are maybe in, maybe some students, they go back home after their class, and there are students who stay in the hostel. So maybe meaning the students
in
who are
the hostel,
yes.
Basically.
Because I don't think you're gonna eat in school and then go back home and you found maybe iftar's been made for
for
you.
those people who live in the hostel, they can
Yes.
they can use that solution.
Yeah, that's actually better.
Yeah.
You guys can form Muslim associations whereby you guys can find Muslim associations, you know, you can found Muslim associations within the school, and you know, like, it's not that very hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but I don't think it's quite hard. The Muslims in your university can come together, talk about the challenges like now that they're facing, and like elect a couple of people who can stand on your behalf. And this Muslim associations, the reason why I would highly recommend forming them is because you can't go directly. I don't think you can directly go to them and you know like everyone goes to the the dean and say, oh, I have this problem. You know, you can't just be badging on an official's office like that. So this is why it's important, a person you can elect to speak on your behalf. So thank you very much on that point. On Leila, your friend used to Skype classes. I really want to go on that topic. Was it because there was no food or there's no iftar? Maybe, probably, like, because of that? Is that the reason why they used to like not attend the classes?
Actually, like, not even having the food or anything. No, even in classes with Ramadan, it's a tricky situation.
It's very tricky.
You won't have time to do your iftar. You won't have time to pray. So like someone has fed the whole day, you're hungry, then you have a class, you can't even understand the class, you can't even, it will be very hard. It was very hard for her.
And I'd like to think that with the university you're in, we've talked about forming Muslim association. I believe that every university, when creating maybe timetables or, you know, anything, they should bear in mind that their school is not, everyone comes from the same, you know, either background or religion. And with Ramadan, I think that university officials should be very considerate. That is the word that I'm looking for. Be very considerate, because you can't have, you know, a class that starts at 5 running to 8 per se, and you know, like, maybe you have Muslims in your university, that time from 6:30, you have to give them maybe a break, you know. And this, like, I want university officials to come up with breaks whereby they can have, like, they know, like, when it reaches 6:30, we need to give them like either an hour or 40 minutes tops. An hour is not very, they can't give you an hour, to be honest. So like 40 minutes, you can go with also the help of the Muslim association. That comes again with the help of the people you elected. You can have the university give you dates, you know, or water, which is not very expensive. You can have them deliver dates or water where Muslim students can use. And another point on that is people can volunteer. This goes out to people with organizations, masjids around the area. They can do this, volunteer, and provide these services to the university so that Muslim students can have them. I think that is a very good idea. Don't you think so, Sabria?
Actually, in the university that my sister used to school, they were receiving a donation from different organizations, and also they had individuals who used to bring like dates and
And even you guys can depend on the university. You can, you know, get help from the masjids, or you guys individually can come together and mchange, you know, like remove a little money together, because it's going to benefit you guys. So I think that is the one challenge that we've already found solution to. The second one was with salah, with prayer. We talked about not having places to pray. We talked about, you know, having difficulties with with spaces where you can go pray. So tell me about what happened with your story. Did you guys ever get a room to pray in?
Yeah, actually, what they used to do in the hostel, because it was kind of difficult to find a prayer room, and they used and they used to live with those maybe Christians and other religions. So they use to kama kuna watu kama ni Muslim, you take your friend who is a Muslim, you live together. So that will be easy because mko the same religion, so you can do anything. That
comes again with the company that you're walking around with. You know, like you'll help yourself plan your time and do things with somebody. It actually makes things easier. On the other one is, we've talked about company. I'd like to ask you guys on, you know, what advice did you get getting into university, you know, in general? Who did you have anyone older than you who told you this is university, this is how things go, you know, if you want things to go right for you, you know, like follow this and this? Was there any advice you were given, Leila?
Yeah. When I was joining university, my mother told me like I have to choose my friend, like the circle that I'll be with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the advice you were given. The circle you keep is very, very important.
Yeah.
What about you, Sabria? What advice were you given?
Okay, my older sister advised me to know my limits. Yeah, and also there are many haram things that happen in the university. I should stick. I should not make haram things to be halal. That was the thing that I was told. To stick to the Islamic teachings.
Have you with Leila, the advice that you've told me about, you were told like your company and the people you surround yourself, how has it helped you? Did you follow it? I want to know, did you actually follow that advice and how it's, you know, impacted the way you go on with your university studies?
Yeah, I followed the rule, till now. You see, like in university, there is something called peer pressure. So you enter in that school as a Muslim, but there is a time when you come out, you can come out of that institution where you are not a Muslim. Like actually, you'll be a Muslim, be doing everything, but inside you know yourself, like I've been doing all the bad thing, all the thing that I was told it's bad and everything, you'll just be doing it.
Yes.
I can say from a story that I saw, there is this girl, like actually who are from the same place, like where I studied high school, but from the same place. I knew her very well. We joined the university, but she was like a year in front of me. When I was joining, she was all okay. She was all dressed up in a abaya, hijab, and not even the scarf, the hijab, you know, hijab. Yeah. We went to the she went to the second year, no, the third year. I went to my second year. Slowly, the girl started changing. Like you see, she started removing her scarf, coming to school with that, the wig, the everything, the braid. Like, I wondered, it's like,
complete
two different people. It's not the girl that I knew before and this girl. So I think it was just the peer pressure that made her to be, because you can't walk with your friends where you are driving in a bar and you want to go somewhere like a club and anywhere, they'll tell you have to take this off and go with us. So you'll just have to do everything to fit into that group.
Yes. So that's a very, very common thing that we we see in universities, whereby you come in as a nice Muslim girl and you find friends who are, not very good, and you start being influenced by them kidogo. By the time you've moved on with maybe a year, you're a completely different person. So that's why it's very important that you know the people that you hang around. That is a very, very important thing. Sabria, coming to you, you've told us about knowing your limits. What is Sabria's limits? How has that advice helped you or paved your way while in university?
Can say normalizing saying no.
Yes, that's very, very good. If it's no, it's no.
Yeah,
if somebody comes to you, if somebody comes to you with an idea and you don't feel comfortable, and I want to repeat this loud and clear, if somebody comes to you with something or tells you to do something, if you're not comfortable with it, saying no. It's you as a person, and forget about them. Know your limits. So how have you, has it helped you?
Yeah, very much, because there was this friend of mine who was like, oh, do you know I do drugs, do what,
Yeah.
come see, kuja
Wait,
tuende.
is that what you said no to?
Yeah, actually, there's this place they go kwa inaitangwa aje, I don't remember, yeah, to smoke bang. Or to, I don't know, to sniff
Yeah.
or to smoke. So she was like,
I don't think you
Sabria,
sniff."
let's go, you see what happens there. So I told her, like, no, I can't go there because, like, I don't want it.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah, that's not me. I don't use drugs. Yeah.
Yes. So with all this advice, alhamdulillah, you had people who told you, you know, or helped you, you know, navigate your way in university. Now, alhamdulillah, you're probably in your second, third, or fourth years in university individually, and there are people who are starting university. This goes out to people who are in maybe their second year, people who have experience in university. Be very kind enough to help the ones getting into university, Muslim or not in this point. Like, it's very important that you help, especially girls, navigate themselves. You know, some people didn't have, you know, the leisure of getting advice from people. So what would you say on that, Leila?
Okay,
Have you helped somebody? Do you think you found somebody you've helped in university? Even if it's once?
Yeah, I've helped once, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I helped a girl, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
alhamdulillah.
yeah.
And this just goes with also Ramadan, the ideas that we've expounded on, mashallah. Like, these are things that hopefully, inshallah, like, they'll help people. And you as an individual, dear listener, like, if you've had these challenges that you faced, it's not a must somebody else goes through this when you know very well that you can do something to help somebody. So alhamdulillah, we've come to the end of our episode. It was a very interactive session. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully both of you enjoyed it, and hopefully, alhamdulillah, like our viewer also enjoyed it. So I'd like to, you know, end this session with saying thank you very much for listening to us. Inshallah, we'll be together again in our next episode of Sister to Sister. Ma'as salam, and have a good week.